Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks, and this evening I'm joined by
Mark.
And we've just finished playing Batman Gotham City Chronicles, which is a one versus many. So you have one overlord who kind of controls all the bad guys, this is their board, against many heroes. So in this case, Mark was playing Batman, here's his figure here, and I was playing Red Hood, if you can see that, this blue guy here. And it's scenario based, so you have some kind of scenario, and effectively as the heroes you're trying to run through stopping the bad guy, in this case it was Firefly I think, from accomplishing some dastardly deed. And there's a time limit, so there's a round tracker here, and you've got a certain amount of time in which to stop him. In this case he was trying to make some gas canisters and poison people I think, so we were trying to get to a certain location here. In terms of how it plays, the heroes kind of take the turn first. And at the start of the turn, you get 2 cubes back, and these are like energy cubes which you're using to take actions. So you get a move, up to 2 moves for free. So for example, if I wanted to shoot these guys, the line of sight system is quite nice. So you can see the letters here. If there's any matching letters on here, then you've got line of sight. Otherwise, if you can draw a line, but you can't because this forklift truck's in the way. So the letters don't match, which means I can't shoot to here. But if I move to here, then I can draw a line from the center of that circle to that one. So I can shoot the people in here. So I can kind of move up to 2 for free. If I wanted to move any extra ones, I would spend cubes into the foot moving action here. But then I would probably want to shoot, so I would spend my cubes in my shooting action here. And typically rolling dice. So my basic shooting gets me a red dice, and if I use I had some batarangs here, which gives me an extra yellow dice that I can re-roll if I fail. So I'd get a red and a yellow dice, and you roll them, and every star is getting you a success. So in this case that would be 2 hits. And then you look at the particular guy you're shooting at, so maybe I'm shooting at this prisoner here, and they've got stats on here, so you can see the prisoner here. It shows you how far he can move, how much armor he has. So he's got 1 armor, so my 2 hits, 1 gets absorbed by the armor, but he's only got 1 health, so he will die unless he defends. So as the bad guy, he can then opt to defend, and he's spending cubes in a similar fashion, so he kind of plonk them on here, and then he's going to get to roll an orange dice to defend. So he rolls his orange dice, and oh, he failed, so that's great. I managed to kill the prisoner, and he comes off the board. So you're kind of running around attacking like that to a certain extent, but ultimately trying to accomplish a mission. I should briefly explain the other scenarios, actions here. You can do a sort of melee action by punching them if you want to. Manipulation is quite important, if like picking up things or trying to, in this case we were trying to figure out the antidote to some gas canister in there. You can think about things, analyse problems here. This is how the heroes defend with this one. This lets you re-roll dice. So for example, if I had missed on one of these dice, which we did quite a lot in this game, then you can spend another cube in order to re-roll one of your dice and try and get the hits that you need. So those are the main kind of actions on the hero board. But yes, we were trying to, in this case, we had to get to a particular location and do a challenge, in this case, finding the cure. So we were spending cubes here. You'd spend a couple of cubes. You'd be rolling yellow dice here. And if I get the real dice, I think we had to get 3 successes or something. So again, I could spend re-rolls. But the cubes run out quite fast, you find in this game. And as I say, at the end of each round, sort of, or the start of the next one, you're going to get 2 cubes back. All the ones you spent come to your exhausted cube section at the end of your turn. And then you're going to get 2 back. Well, that's not very many. And now I've only got 3 cubes to spend on my next turn. So what you can do instead, if you're becoming very tired, is you can rest. And that gets you 5 cubes back potentially. It's slightly different depending on the character. So for my character, it's 2 normally, or 5 if I rest. So I'd get 4 back. Now, if you get wounded, they go in this area here. And only once this has been emptied, when you're resting, would you then move potentially, and they just go to here. They don't even go to there. So that'd be 4 into here, and then the extra 1 could come from there. I could heal effectively. So it's quite punishing because it removes the cubes if you get wounded. Speaking of getting wounded, then it will be the bad guys go. Incidentally, we can each take actions there's no turns as such, we just take them when we like, which is quite nice. It's very freeform in that sense. But then the bad guy has a turn. He gets 5 cubes at the start of every round. That's his used pile. We're going to here. And he spends his cubes then to activate up to 2 of his guys here. The cost is at the top though. So you can see the costs are increasing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. up to here. So Firefly, who's standing right next to Batman, he'd really like Firefly to hit Batman in the face. But it'd be very expensive. It would cost him 7 cubes to activate Firefly because he's just activated him. So for example, if he wanted to activate this Brute, which is nearby, where's the Brute? Oh, there we go. That would only cost him 1. So he'd pay 1 cube, activate the brute, and when he activates him, it slides to the end of the line, and they all slide down. So now the brute next time is going to be very expensive to activate, but then that makes all the others slightly cheaper. So there's this kind of cycling system as it goes round, which means you want to sort of vary the different people you use. When you activate the brute, you get to activate all the brutes wherever they are on the board, and they get to do the thing. So as we saw before, they've got a certain movement. In this case, this guy moves 3, and he can attack for a certain kind of attack. If he's going to punch, for example, he's going to roll these dice here. So he would move into a location and roll the dice in the same way as the heroes do, and trying to do damage, which, as I said earlier, is going to move cubes into the wounded section, and it's very difficult for us to get them back. So yes, subject to the time limit, we run around trying to accomplish the goal, and either we succeed in the time limit, in which case the heroes win, otherwise the baddies win, which happened a lot in our game. What do we think?
I'll preface this with that I haven't actually played Conan, but I am aware of a lot that's part of that game that this is very much taken from, and they are very similar. This is very much still a scenario-driven, small area, local fighting, completing missions. So if you like Conan, you're probably going to like that. And if you like probably even further Batman theme or not. As a game that's new playing to this, there's a lot of interesting things in the systems that involve the heavy resource management with your characters, and specifically with being the bad guy overlord person, who I got to play as both, and I do actually think I prefer playing as the Overlord. I think the river system, they call it, where things get more expensive when you've activated them, adds more, because there's already resource management being the hero with I'm running out of energy, but with that there's the running out of energy also mixed with, well, it's really expensive for me to reactivate those. So I enjoyed that. Was fun. The scenario is all right. It's quite fun. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of variation between the different ones, and ultimately it is good for what it does. But I can't say I loved it, because I think the resource system is good and it's really tight. But as soon as you introduce the dice into it, it can just throw it too far. I think it swings all your careful planning too much. I think it's so time optimized. You've got to be so efficient doing particular things, because we were struggling on time anyway. And then suddenly you get a couple of bad dice rolls, and it's sort of like, it just feels that it kicks you too far back. It's too painful to spend another die on a reroll and then fail that reroll, to spend another cube again. And you can do that several times. Like, I'm spending too much, and you can just see it going, I'm not sure that we can actually do this. I think if you played it a lot more, you'll be able to optimize as a group and get better at it and be better. But I'm not sure I'm willing to put in the time to get that far to be that good at it. I did enjoy what we did, but it's not going to make me want to replay it often. And so I don't think I'll ever get good enough to be great at it, to really enjoy it.
Rating?
For me, 6.5.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree with everything Mark said. One other thing I'll say is that it has a very high learning curve. When you first play, there's iconography everywhere, so it's very difficult to learn. You're constantly looking up, there's a little boot icon here. What does that mean? There's a kind of a guy with a shield. What does that mean? And you're looking up all the different icons, because there's equipment as well that you can attach to a character, and all of them got lots of different icons on, so you spend a lot of time at the start learning what they do. Obviously that's going to speed up the play once you get used to it all, but there's a big learning curve where just be aware of that. The system, I think, is really solid. I really like it. For the Overlord, the cycling system, the river thing is great. In terms of the heroes, thinking about your actions and how you activate them, how many cubes you want to use, I also really like. But as Mark says, it is super tight, and the dice are so swingy. You know, there's different colours of dice. Some dice are better than others, like red's better than orange, better than yellow. But those yellow dice just never came out for me. I mean, they're not the best dice, but still, they just seem to be covered in blank. So I get blank after blank after blank, and it felt very punishing. So that detracted from it a bit. It's a very solid system. I just wish there was some, or perhaps more ways of mitigating the dice. You can obviously do the re-rolls, but you run out of the cube so quickly because it's so tight. But that system's really good, so I don't know. In terms of, if you don't mind a bit of bad luck, and you're just happy to have some fun, in terms of a kind of adventure game, I think it does its job very well. There's tons of content in this one, loads of scenarios, so that's great. I think I would be on a 7 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was Batman Gotham City Chronicles.